Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Fuente and Meerapfel present The Professor. Hello, everybody.
All good. Today's special show.
Today's a very special show indeed, because today, ladies and gentlemen, we have one of the most prominent personalities of our entire industry. I mean, hell, we have one of the most prominent personalities in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the honor, the blessing to receive the one and only Daniel Marshall. Daniel, hello.
Jeremiah, thank you so much. Welcome. And I'm so pleased to be on this fantastic show of yours, all that you put together. It's really quite an honor. I tell you, I'm thinking it really puts a new meaning to the modern day campfire theme, which I'm always talking about, because this is really modern to have a campfire here, virtual. So congratulations.
It really is an honor and a pleasure to have Daniel as our special guest today. I mean, there's a lot of things we're going to be talking with him. He has a long history, a lot of respect, and it's going to be a great, fantastic show. And Daniel has a lot to talk about.
So tell me something, Mr. Professor. You know, we all know Daniel. We all know where he comes from. We know his history. But maybe we need to say a little word to everybody out there, because in my life, in my career, seldom have I met people that have such an unbelievable story to tell. Professor, why don't you give us a few words on what you know about Mr. Marshall?
Well, I could tell you one of the things about Daniel, he started at a very young age in California. He was he had something to do close to where he was staying someplace where John Wayne had something to do. And then this man called Papa Joe, I think, saw a lot of potential in the kid. So I think he loaned him $50,000. And then from there, Daniel tried to contact the people at Dunhill in New York. That did not go so well, but he was very persistent. And I think he went to Dunhill in England. And from there, he got his first gig with them. And I can't get into detail of all the things that Daniel has done. He's going to give us a lot about that. But I mean, he's done humidors for some of the greatest celebrities in the world, humidors that have sold for up to, I think, $150,000. But I think the person really to talk about this really is Daniel more than anything else.
Absolutely. Well, there you go. Another example that nobody, even myself, is able to nail the professor. Mr. Daniel Marshall, please introduce yourself.
That's impressive, Mr. Professor. It's really awesome. And I am just I can't tell you how grateful I am every day to be in this wonderful world of cigars and to be able to meet people all over the world. We have people right now from Dubai. We're having people coming in from China. We're going to have people from all over the United States. So it's super exciting. And at 1982, I've always said in the last years, ever since I started, there's an amazing power with cigars. It's the power of the cigar. And even Carlos Fuente, back in early March, when I went to visit the chateau, he said, look, you will be amazed at what cigars have accomplished. And he's putting the credit on the cigars. And I put the credit also on cigars, because I made a gift from my girlfriend's grandfather, because he offered to loan me money to finish my sailboat. And I was so touched by that by the evening that he was trying to convince me that I could feel comfortable borrowing money from my girlfriend's grandfather, which I didn't like to do. We were overlooking all of LA, and he was talking away, trying to convince me. And then I drive home that night and I'm saying, what was he doing while he was talking to me so passionately and interested? And he left all the guests in his mansion, to be alone with me by the pool to hear about my sailboat and how that was progressing, because he thought that was amazing. A kid had this dream to build a sailboat at 12, and I saved money and whatnot. And so nearly was finished with the boat, and I needed a small loan, which I got from the bank. And he says, no, don't borrow it from the bank. You got to borrow it from me. I want to help you. I want to be involved. how much you need. I said 15,000. He said, you're going to need 50,000. I said, 50,000? No way. And anyway, long story short, you know what he was doing while he was talking to me overlooking LA by his pool over his rose garden. You just know. And I called the butler, the man of the house the next day, and I said, what was he smoking? What was that all about? And he said it was a Dunhill cigar. So of course I went right away up to where I was building my boat. I took the teak wood and I made a 3 cigar case to hold 3 cigars in a hinged lid and whatnot. And I gave it to him 2 weeks later, never borrowed the money, never went. I said, the guy's got to get a gift first. We got to give the power of the cigar. I didn't know how important gifts were and how important generosity was, but he was really touched, and that man saw my future. So he saw this gift and he looked at it and he said, Danny, I love it. I'll use it at the golf course, but you can sell this. Dunhill will buy this. You can set up a factory. You can sail around the world. You can do it all. So the first time in my life that his name was Papa Joe, you know, we all have Papa Joes in our lives, people who really help us on our trajectory and whatnot. And so I didn't want to be a businessman. The name of my boat was Breakaway. I wanted to be a surf bum sailing around the world, you know, surfing in every location possible. And so, you know, I deeply respected, admired him. He built the first life insurance company in Santa Monica, went public in the 60s, was very, very successful. And so I wasn't about to say stupid idea, you know, like you can keep your cigar case, give me your 50,000. I never borrowed the 50,000. It just rolled from there. It was such a strange, odd thing that happened. And so I flew to New York, couldn't get an appointment with the buyer. Finally, I just walked down there, the old, you know, just what we have to do. We always have to just beat down the door. And Papa Joe said they'd buy it. So I had this fixated in my head. Papa Joe can't be wrong. He said they would buy it. So I got in. A sympathetic president's assistant answered the door, and she had a lot of power. So she immediately got me an appointment with the buyer, who had no open to buy, didn't want to see me. You know, everyone's heard all this resistance talk. Yeah. And I show him the 3 cigar case, and he is not impressed. I made one for every cigar Dunhill made. He said, this is okay, but can you make a humidor? I said, of course I can make a humidor. What's a humidor? I didn't know what a humidor was. I'm in 5th Avenue, New York, in this really posh store. I'm a surfer. My blonde hair is as long as Melanie's. You know, I tell you, it was pretty wild. And so he brought up one made by a French company with a whiskey bottle. And he says, copy it and I'll give you an order. So I copied it. 2 weeks later, came back and he wrote a $250,000 order. And then I went back to Papa Joe. I went back to the Godfather. And I said, now what do we do? I have like a wood shop with a table saw and a couple sanders. How do we do a $250,000 order for the most like prestigious luxury men's store in the world? He laughed so hard. He says, I told you I was right. Well, we set up a factory. And then so he became my partner and we set up a factory. So
wow, look at that. Another story. And at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, these stories are relatively common in the cigar industry and only in the cigar industry, right, Daniel?
100%. When it comes to cigars, it's all about the dream. It's all about the enjoyment we get to meet with people and our love of people. I think 99% of the people in this cigar world, people who enjoy tasting cigars and making them and being a part of it, we're not motivated by money, but I truly think it's just to enhance the enjoyment of the campfire is what I say. And as Carlos is always saying, it's not, we don't sell cigars. It's all about the people. And we sell love. We sell love.
So they are asking, they want to know, how did you and Carlito meet?
Well, 38 years ago, the business looked very different back then. And you cannot imagine how those trade shows looked and how much time we had on our hands to schmooze and get to know everybody, because there were very few buyers. And so what do? I particularly learned how to enjoy a cigar, but that's how we met. We met at the first, I'd say, trade show when it was called the RTDA. Then we do it in multiple cities, but literally it was a very, very small organization and very few companies involved. And we all had the very basic tables, you know, with a simple tablecloth. If you even had a tablecloth, that was luxury. So we met there, and then so we'd see each other, and then Marvin Shanken, the genius visionary he is, he called all of us. A guy called George Brightman was hired by Marvin. He used to work, and we all know George. He was hired from Davidoff as the manager of the shop in Madison, and Marvin said, George, you are Mr. Encyclopedia, and you have the Rolodex for everyone in the cigar business. So then Marvin called everyone in the cigar business personally. I remember my call word for word, and how he was starting a cigar magazine. So this is what really shifted and changed our world. And then Carlos and I were able to meet at the Big Smokes, which we do. And that was so much fun because there would be a lot of noise and a lot of excitement. And then afterwards we'd go have cigars, we'd go have drinks, and we'd do exactly what we're doing right now. So it's just over the years, and I'll never forget when I went to the first time Dominican Republic 25 years ago when I launched my first cigar collection with Manuel Quesada. I visited Carlito, and we went in the Opus aging room, and he said, Danny, I got to show you something new, one of these new cigars. And I tell you, we were laughing when I was there this last month. It was no bigger than a 10 by 12 foot, 10 by 16 foot room. And he had all the Opus X's he had ever made in this little room. And there's a great picture of him and I 25 years ago. So it's been that's, so you can imagine different events and different times and different places. And as we travel all over the world, whether it's in Germany at the big show over there, we just have the greatest time seeing each other. He's always inspiring me, and I'm so proud of what him and his family and his team has been able to accomplish and truly make, I think, the best cigar in the world.
Well, you and a lot of people think that, and actually, I think we're blessed because if I'm not mistaken, my Papa Joe's hiding somewhere there. Carlito, you wanna say hi to everybody? I think Carlito Fuente is on the line.
Woohoo!
Hey,
hello everyone. Yes, I am, but I think thank you very much, Daniel. But I think it goes much more than that. I think that you and I, we hit it off because there's something very special about you as a human being. You have that special charm, and you're just one big teddy bear, a lovable person. And I remember, yes, we all had these little curtains and these little tables with just a little a tablecloth around it. And I just remember being with you and what a gentleman you were, how you spent time with me, and those things you never forget in your life. And that's how friendship starts. I remember back then, everybody in all the big companies, all the big executives, and their Armanis and their all their Senyas or Stefano Ricci's or whatever it was, all of them. And we were just there. We were just two young men, and enjoying life and excited about the future, and magic happens. And you know what? I'm a blessed man to have known you for 38 years.
Oh man, me too.
And to see your success, to see how you've grown, and that you're still the same exact person that I met 38 years ago. Well, and that speaks the world about you, sir.
Thank you. I so much for saying that, for your love, and for your appreciation of what I've tried to do and try to do every day. And we do share so much in common, all of us. And I think that, the fact that when people told you can never go a rapper in Dominican Republic, you and I are the same. We love those words. Impossible, you'll never do it, you can never happen. That's like, okay, that's what we have to do. That's one of the many things we share. But thank you. You are absolutely, the words you said, I mimic them right back to you, buddy, because you are as humble as it can be. And I'm really pissed off at you in Austria. You told me, Danny, you got to come back. You got to see what cigars have accomplished. And I'm there sitting with you saying, wow, okay, a cigar factory, a club, this sounds cool. I'm sure it's beautiful. But no, you downplayed the whole experience. I've never been more blown away. I've never been more impressed. It's indescribable what you've done. Indescribable. And that's a dream come true, and it's evolving on a daily basis. So anybody who hasn't been down there, your life is not complete until you visit this Chateau de la Fuente and see the schools and the hospitals and what a family full of love and a team all on the same
Daniel,
board.
there's a question that actually came in for you, which I think you should answer. This is from a friend of all of ours, Dallas. Dallas, I hope you're well, my friend. And Dallas is asking you, Daniel, how impactful was your trip to the Cigar Family School in March? Tell us about that, what it did to you.
Well, we just put up a video, and I did this really kind of amateur capture. I think I was videoing more than I was breathing and making Carlos crazy. I wanted to document it, to show to my daughter, to show to my buddies, to get them to really to see and appreciate what Carlos never really talks about and never warns you about. I was like Willy Wonka of the cigar world. So it touched me so deeply, and I tell you, I walked away from seeing the kids either play music or seeing the kids learning and on the computers, and then them so happy and so grateful to see Carlos and to see how he's changed their lives, how people come back from the school after graduating and teach at the school. And this, you have to understand, this is 300 acres that is in the middle of nowhere. I mean, they built the roads, they brought the electricity, and this is just incredible. The community in the city that they has created there, Cigar Family City, I call it. But I was profoundly touched and said, dude, I said to myself, I got a lot to do. I have a lot to giving back to do. I want to jump on Carlos's coattails and want to give back and help and share and dedicate the rest of my years to trying just to even have 1% of what he has been able to accomplish there, as far as giving back to the people and sharing the experience of life, you know, and really enriching people's lives. And if I wanted, that's how I was profoundly touched. It inspired me to do everything I possibly can to do just that somehow, some way. And I'll find a way to do it.
That's beautiful.
And what you have, Daniel, because I was very fortunate to be with you in Austria and to see the amazing works of art, the amazing creations that you made to help awareness of the globe and global warming and green and the things that you did with Arnold and the works of art that literally brought in hundreds and hundreds of thousands of euros. It was amazing, your huge heart and how much you give. You really impressed me. But I had no doubt that that's who you were deep inside.
Well, thank you. It's so rewarding to do things for others and to get behind a cause. And the environmental crusade that Governor Schwarzenegger is on is super exciting because it affects us in the here and the now, but also in the future. And so the idea to do an event in Kitzbühel is kind of crazy, and especially since it's during a very busy weekend. I'm so happy the island, just a simple cigar maker island boy, could see it, because I'm a simple bum from Malibu surfer. Like, I wasn't raised in a fancy environment, and then to see that in Austria with you and to share as we walk down the slippery ice streets and go up to the different locations, it was such a wonderful experience. And then to break all records, we raised 900,000 euros that night, way surpassing what we had in mind. And the humidors went for $60,000-$70,000 each. We had a Terminator humidor. We had, you know, a special humidor that Arnold designed. Well, his concept was on all the humidors, and it's his designs. He has the most greatest ideas for everything, and product development is one of them. And then, of course, he said, we got to fill it with those humidors with your new cigar that Carlos made for you. And so I went up to the lounge and brought down a few hundred cigars and loaded up the humidor, because no humidor is complete without cigars. So it's thanks to your cigars, buddy, that those humidors raised hundreds of thousands. And thank you to buy the Stallone piece, which is really, you know, I thank you for doing that, because it's really a beautiful piece. It's a one-of-a-kind piece, and I can't wait for it to be down there in your art institute and what you're creating. People have no idea what you're up to, so I'll let you take it from there.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're witnessing something very special today. I can see that the live audience is through the charts. This is a very big moment, not only for ourselves, Daniel, but also for all the people out there watching you. You are one of the greatest, if not the greatest, humidor maker that we've ever seen. For those who know Daniel Marshall, no introduction is needed. For those who don't, Daniel makes the finest pieces that have ever set on any desktop or in any household or office. Daniel has served every president of the United States, every celebrity, and everybody cherishes his work and respects the ultimate quality and craftsmanship and love that he puts into every piece that he does. And I think this is also the reason there's so much respect between cigar makers such as Carlos Fuente and Mr. Marshall. Daniel, you're one of a kind, and thank you very much for everything you're contributing to this industry.
Oh man, it's such an honor and a pleasure. Like I say, every day I wake up so blessed and so happy for another breath of air to be able to go out there and do what I love and do it with the people that I love, which is extraordinarily enjoyable right now, especially, and to have these great collaborations and with friends. And I tell you, it's such a wonderful experience to be with the king and the pope of cigars, to be with the godfather of cigars, to be with the professor of cigars, to be with, the cigar goddess, Melanie, and to be with Benoit. I mean, he's 2 Michelin star cigar connoisseur, and then all of you listening and tuning in. It's a super exciting, historic moment, I think.
Well, we got a present for you. Well, actually, Daniel has a present for all of you because Daniel is giving away one of his humidors today and a bunch of cigars. Now, this is unique. I personally I've never tasted one of these cigars and have never seen one of these humidors because if I'm not mistaken, these are very, very early releases. These are very exclusive. Daniel, you want to tell us a little bit about this?
Yes, absolutely. So this is, whoa, look at that construction. Amazing. These Fuente ashes just know how to hold together. They don't want to give anything up, do they? They want to stay. It's all about. So this is what I call the artist proof. I made 5 or 6 of these pieces as prototypes. Carlos and I designed this together step by step over the last couple years. And so this is one of those very first pieces before they've gone into our workshop, which we're working on now for May release. So it's all a numbered edition, very, very special. It holds 8 amazing cigars.
Wow, you want to show it to everybody?
Sure.
Oh my goodness, that is absolutely beautiful. Let's see if we can. There we go.
Yeah, that looks great.
All right, let's get the video back on Marshall. Daniel, you say a few words and let's get the video back on you, please, with the humidor.
Okay, and so what we're going to do today is give away one of these artist proof humidors, and we're going to give away a special 38th anniversary cigar made by Carlos Fuente. The world has not seen it yet. I don't know if you can see. Let me see. There, you can see how it's printed in gold up on the cedar on the top. It's
but
really
I see something very, very special that's calling my attention on the corner. What is that?
This is what I've been doing while I've been quarantined. This is what I've been doing while I've been quarantined. I've been taking these jewels of cigar, and I swear, the other gold cigars take a gram of gold, so 28 cigars, normal torpedoes, red label, is 1 ounce. So if you buy 20, these monsters, they're like demanding more gold. This takes twice as much gold. So 16 of these, or 14 of these is 1 ounce of gold. I'm saying, shit, there's a lot of rings here that could be melted with the ash, and that's what. So this is what I'm doing in quarantine hours. I've never been busier, but I'm able to take as many of these beautiful cigars and and roll the gold in the midnight hours. So that's a special.
Well, that obviously is the golden ticket that will take you to the world of Willy Wonka.
Yeah, well,
that is absolutely insane. And now we got to figure out, how do we win this thing?
Yeah. Well, you know, I have done this at certain special events, and people always are kind of really surprised and excited, especially because we're celebrating the most important day pretty much in people's life, their birthday. So the idea is we're going to give this special artist-proof special edition piece away to whoever's birthday is closest to today. So hopefully we have some birthdays that can, you know, either in the past or in the future. So everyone tuning in, whoever's birthday or any of you great hosts have a birthday, I'll make sure that this humidor gets to you.
It's my birthday today.
Like
I wish.
Well, I could tell you this. I was born so long ago that I'm not sure of the day, but I know the month was April. So maybe I have a chance to win that.
April 29th, right?
You shouldn't have said it. You got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Shit. I'm always messing up.
All right.
But another thing, my ancestor, very distant, Vice President Marshall, had a really great line. And he said, and you've all heard it, what the country really needs right now is a 5-cent cigar. And he said it in the funniest of circumstances, whispering into someone's ear during a Senate hearing by obviously a Democrat was listing all the things that the country needed. And this guy said, well, we need a 5-cent cigar. So whoever wins this, we are going to charge them. It's not free, 5 cents.
All right, but we're going to have to put a rule on this thing because we're going to have to check whose birthday it is. So, Melanie, do we have an email address set up or something, or a chat where people can send a picture of their passport or their identity card or something like that?
Absolutely. I do have an email address.
Cigar people don't lie.
All right. Well, Melanie's going to give you an email address that I want anybody who thinks that their birthday is closest to today, whether it was yesterday, today, tomorrow, 3 days ago, 4 days from now, whatever it may be, if you think that you can win this humidor because you're closest to the birthday, send an email now to Melanie. What email address?
All right. So you can send this email address to Godfather at thefuenteshow.com.
Oh, there we go. That's my email address. All right. So the Godfather at, is it thefuenteshow.com?
Correct.
Okay, at thefuenteshow.com. Melanie, you have access to those emails now?
I do, and I will, and it's open, it's live, so they'll come through, and then I will be able to see them, and then I can pick a winner. I don't know how long it'll take me to go through them because you guys are like, wow, there's a lot.
There's a lot of people there.
I saw somebody, April 9th came up, so let's see about that. Another comment was really funny, Carlos, that you guys, he was saying, I wish I had a Photoshop machine. I'd Photoshop my ID.
Yeah, no, I saw a few really close ones.
All right, guys, don't be photoshopping. We're all in this. So we're all happy.
All right, we're counting on you guys not to mess around with all that technology. So we're trusting you here. Send in your emails. Melanie's going to go through it, and before the end of the show, Daniel Marshall will be announcing who the grand winner of his prizes on Fuente and Meerapfel presents the Professor. Now, this show is about the Professor as well. So, Professor, what's today's subject about?
Well, today we're going to talk about finish. We're going to do it briefly, which is something that a lot of the consumers all over the world don't understand, because we've been talking about flavor, strength, aroma, complexity, balance, and finish. So people see the reviews and they hear, well, the cigar was medium to full, it was spicy, it was this, and it had a long finish. People think for you to determine the finish, you have to smoke the whole cigar. Not true. Half an inch into the cigar, you're gonna know if it has a short finish, long finish, no finish, or a bad aftertaste. When do you know that a cigar has a really good finish when your lips are tingling, when you have total stimulation, total balance in your mouth, and you do not want to let go that cigar, and you want to smoke it all the way down. Now, that is my concept of finish. Now, maybe the Papo wants to say something about it too. He sometimes agrees with me, sometimes he doesn't, but that's life.
Hey, you know what? It's getting better. It used to be 60-40, now it's 50-50. So I think it's okay.
The question that I have for Daniel Marshall today is a couple, because I've known of his work for many, many years, and maybe a lot of people don't believe this, but today's show is history in the making. Because to get two legendary figures like Carlito and Daniel Marshall, I don't have a hat, so Jeremiah will have to take his hat off for me, is really outstanding. And my question to you, of all the celebrities that you have made Humidors for, it doesn't have to be the most expensive one or the lowest one. Who has given you, if you can, the hardest time to make the Humidor that he wanted?
It's a very good question and a very easy one to answer. I love the challenges, just like Carlos and all of you. Like, we love challenges, and the more impossible it is, the better. But there was a gentleman who passed away called Bijan, and he was world recognized as being the dresser of the kings and the tycoons, and the Bush family really loved him. And he's an Iranian immigrant and came with nothing, and he met a guy called Dar Malboubi who funded him, and he built this brand called Bijan. And his partner met me, Dar Malboubi met me, and heard that I made some of the best humidors and pack boxes, if you will. And he said,
a minute? I am so sorry, because I want to get this out to them. I'm so sorry, but I have to change the email address. It needs to be Mel, M-E-L, @thefuenteshow.com. So sorry, guys, but I want to tell you that before the show is over. If you send in the email, I'll be able to do it really quick, and I can call one out before the show's over.
All right. I hope everybody heard that. So it's M-E-L, Mel, @thefuenteshow.com. You take a picture with your mobile phone of your ID card, your driver's license, whatever it is. We want your date of birth, and you send that to Melanie. And that's all you send to Melanie, your date of birth, nothing else. All right, guys. All right, back to you.
I saw a message from Fares, Carlito, and he said it's his birthday today.
Wow.
That's awesome.
It's Fares's birthday every day. Yeah, right, Daniel?
That's good. So anyway, Dar had me come to his office. He said, listen, Daniel, I want you to make a special presentation box for our fragrance. The Bijan fragrance is what makes us major money. It's not the fashion house, but we created a brand, and now we have a fragrance, and we're killing it. And so I made these beautiful boxes. And then after I did that, he says, oh, I want you to introduce you to my partner. His name is Bijan. I said, sure, I'll be happy to meet him and make him a special humidor and whatnot. And I think Carlito knows the shop on Rodeo. It's right there down there.
Absolutely.
Got that yellow.
That's my inspiration for colors, man. I can't afford what they sell inside, but I walk by and I get inspired when I see those beautiful colors, and it's just their art is just unbelievable. They're beautiful. It's just incredible.
Yeah,
beautiful.
And the way he matches the tie and the slot and the hat, everything, impeccable taste and quality. And of course, he had Stefano Ricci make everything for him, no doubt.
Of course.
And they charged like ridiculous prices, literally. So I met with him in the shop, up in his office in the back. And he said, listen, my best customer loves cigars, and I want you to make him a humidor that I can sell to him. And he spends $1 million a year in my shop. So I said, okay, that's fine. What do you have in mind? He says, well, he's got this private jet all in burl walnut. So I don't want the burl walnut on the outside of the humidor. I want it on the inside. So I want it to look like the inside of his jet. And on the outside, he has this special alligator skin, and I want you to cover it in this special 50-year-old alligator skin. So I said like this, but this is not real. So anyway, I said, no problem. I can do it. I think I can do it for around $2,500. You just supply me the skin and I'll make it happen. You know, guys, I had to make this in pieces, in little like sections, polish it, put it together. But it didn't stop there because he liked only a particular cigar. Opus X wasn't around back then because this was about 30 years ago, 35 years ago. Otherwise, it would have been full of Opus X cigars. It was Davidoff Cubans. So this guy had a collection of 8 different sizes. So there were drawers underneath for Davidoff, like the long ones, and then Dom Perignons. There were different trays. So it was all complicated to humidify it and everything. And then he says, oh, I want you to spice it up a little bit more. I says, well, I just made these beautiful clocks for Tiffany. How about we put in some clocks and a cutter and a beautiful matching lighter? He says, oh, perfect. So I made a special drawer for all that. And then halfway through the project, he's calling me and I'm saying, like, where is it? It's already 2 months has gone by. And anybody who does anything custom knows it takes forever to do stuff like this. And I says, well, I'm progressing. It'll be done maybe soon, hopefully. And he said, no, I need it next week. I said, I can't. I'm going to have to work round the clock. If you really want it, though, I have to charge you a little bit more, $3,500. And the guy went nuts. And this was one of the most challenging moments where I actually felt like crying, holding back tears, because the guy then started going off on me. And he was telling me, I told him $2,500, and how can he charge me more, and blah, blah, blah. So, okay, I went back to the shop, and I finished it in about 2 weeks. And I gave it to him for the $2,500 that I quoted. And I swore to myself, I never want to hear or see that humidor again. But things like our children, Carlos always talks about his cigars being children. I mean, I totally get it. And you hear about your children. 2 years later, I was up in Palm Springs at the opening of a beauty salon, believe it or not. It was this big gala event. And the owner, the financier of the shop comes up to me and says, hey, I hear you made Humidor. Did you make one for Bijan? I said, yeah, I did. And she said, well, he made that for my husband and we got divorced. And in the settlement, that Humidor was listed and I wanted to know how much you charged Bijan for it because he charged my husband ridiculous amount of money. I says, oh, this is trade secret. We can't tell costs and all that. But I had a few martinis. I said, but wait, I'll make a deal with you. You tell me how much your husband paid, and I tell you how much I charge Bijan. So she said, my husband paid $125,000 for the Humidor. So I said, wow. Okay, I charged him $2,500. So there you have it.
Hey, now you know, anyway, when you're buying a Humidor from Daniel, you're making a hell of a good deal. Daniel, we have some questions coming in, and it's part of our ritual to bring somebody live on the show to ask the question. We got a really good question that came in from Dimitri Kneiper. Dimitri, I'm going to pull you in and allow you to ask your question live to Mr. Daniel Marshall. Dimitri, you're live.
Hi, Jamar. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, brother?
Fine, thanks. I'm sitting in the barn outside, so it's pretty cold to smoke outside, but I'm fine, thanks.
All right, Daniel. Let's go.
The question I have, Daniel, is what is the impact of the quality of a humidor when you're aging your cigars at home?
The impact of a humidor, well, I could talk for the next 25, 30, 40 years about what aging does to tobacco. And I mean, there we have the king and we have the Pope here on this call who has the best answer for what happens to a cigar in aging. And if you ever go down and see what he has created in I saw only one of 3 cigar factories, but I was fortunate enough to go into the aging room and see how those children and how those babies are cultivated and nurtured. And they have a profound impact on the taste, on the value of the cigar, on your pleasure, on your enjoyment. It becomes more than a cigar. If you take good quality tobacco, I've always said it will transform it into being much more than a cigar. It will become super light. Like this cigar that Carlos made is featherweight. It's as if it came from the heavens. I'm telling you, aging is what creates the perfect draw and the most amazing draw when you have an aged cigar. So, but not good question. A lot of people don't understand the value of a humidor. It's kind of like one of those things, you know, it's kind of underappreciated, but I think more and more people are getting it, that they have a nice investment of cigars and their tastes have gone up, and they collect Opus X cigars, and they want to preserve the cigar. So it's mandatory that the cigars be kept in a consistent humidity as possible. And Carlos, though, can speak to the whole effect on the tobacco with the aging.
All right. Thank you, Dimitri.
Thank you, guys. Stay safe.
All right. Well, stay tuned, stay live, and we'll go on to the next question. This is a question that came in from Jose Brito. Let's see if we can get Jose on the line. If you're there, get ready to talk, brother. We're going to pull you in. Here we go. All right, Jose, you're live.
Hey, good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Good, Jose.
Good, great, Jose. Good to hear from you.
Thank you.
Doing well.
You guys too. I hope you're staying safe.
You too, my friend.
So my question was to Daniel. Daniel, good morning, and it's a pleasure to actually have the opportunity to speak with you. I was curious as far as what was the most exotic material that you've ever made a humidor out of?
Well, thank you, Jose. Nice to talk to you as well. Look, hopefully we get together at a campfire live one of these days soon. But the most exotic material was solid gold, 14 karat gold. I made a humidor for a Prince of Qatar in gold. I make probably the world's only sterling silver humidor. There's 100 ounces of silver to create it. I make this Italian silversmith absolutely bonkers with my requests and my demands. It has to have friggin' rounded corners, and it has to have these hand-cut lines on the top and blah, blah, blah. But, and then when this prince saw it, he said, well, can you do it in gold? I said, sure. So that was the most expensive one that I made, and also the most exotic, I'd say.
Incredible. Well, thank you for what you do. I mean, some of the material that I've actually had the opportunity to see some Daniel Marshall humidors in person, and they're phenomenal. I hope one day to add to my collection.
Thank you, Jose. God
Jose,
bless you.
thank you very much.
Jose, thank you very much, Jose.
Thank you. Jose, stay tuned, stay live. It's time for that special moment of the day. But remember, guys, you also have to nail the professor. Somebody needs to nail that professor today. And remember, if you nail the professor, we're sending you a Carlito Fuente bobblehead. So anybody who nails the professor wins a bobblehead. All right.
Shit.
It's that time of the day. It's the time for Benoit's Baked. Benoit, it's on you.
Right. Okay, today, guys, I found something very special on internet. So I don't know how can I say that in English. It's like a stupid news, a dumb news. So it's a riddle today that happens to a woman in Belgium. So she bought a plant 2 years ago, and now something happened. Guess what? Jeremiah.
Wait, hold on a second. I'm trying to follow you. So it's a woman who bought a plant.
About the plants, yeah.
And something happens to her.
Yes. And she bought the plant 2 years ago. That's very stupid.
And
Melanie, Carlito, guess what?
I think it grew to a beanstalk, and she went up and met the giant, and she doesn't want to come down.
Very good.
That's funny.
Depend can draw. So, someone find? Tic tac, tic tac.
What kind of plant was it? Was it a tobacco plant, and she rolled an amazing cigar with it? What did she grow?
It was a small green plant.
A small green plant. Was it one of these plants that are grown in California and Colorado?
No. So, nobody else?
Professor?
No.
Not a clue.
Not a clue. Okay, guys. So, I read what I found on the internet. So, after 2 years, she realizes that she is watering an artificial plant made with plastic.
Oh my Lord.
I have had this pretty plant for 2 years now. I was so proud of her with her beautiful bright colors. She was just perfect. today, when I decided to transplant it into the perfect little flower pot I had found for her, I discovered she was fake. I gave her 2 years of love. I carefully cleaned her leaves during 2 years, but she's fake. That's something very, very, very stupid. And that something happens to a Belgian woman. We say hi to the Belgian woman listening our show. And about crazy thing, I have to tell a story. Something happens in my place, in my restaurant. Sometimes I have to take to hang the phone, and it was something would try to make a reservation. So, Bonbon restaurant, Benoit speaking. How can I help you? I would like to get a table, but first I have a question for you. May I come in with my tiger? With a tiger? Yes, tiger. I was really surprised about the first time during my career. So, what would you have done in my place, Jeremiah? Did you accept? Did you agree with the animals in the restaurant?
I mean, it depends how good looking that tiger was, right?
Yes, but the tiger is very complicated. After the story of the panda, do you know the story of the panda?
No, what's the story of the panda?
So, the panda working to a restaurant, a panda. So he orders a sandwich. He eats the sandwich. Then he put out a gun and shoot the waiter and leave the place. And then after that, the restaurant manager was coming and say, "Hey, panda, where are you going? You can't do that. You can take a sandwich. You can eat it. You can shoot my waiter." Then the panda looked the manager and say against him, "Hey, guy, I am a panda. Look it up." So the guy took the dictionary, look at panda. Okay, panda, marsupial animal from Asian, characterized by the black and white color, eats, shoots, and leave. So for today.
You are fucking crazy. All right, back to the show.
Let me say something, Jeremiah. Let me say something. We speak about birthday today, and I would like to say something because tomorrow is a special day for us, for my family. That's my mom's birthday. She is 60 years old tomorrow, so I would like just to say hi to my mom. She's stuck in Dakar, in Senegal. So I would like just say to my mom, and I love her so much. Happy birthday, mom! And voilà, we think about you every day. So thank you, mom.
Oh wow, that's beautiful.
Happy birthday.
Be
Happy
well, mom
birthday.
of Benoit. Stay safe.
Happy birthday.
And you're lucky to have such an amazing son. That's
We
beautiful.
actually have a special attendee who actually has a birthday today.
Wow.
Oh.
Who's that? Who's that, Melanie? Tell me.
It is Lori McFarland.
Lori, hold on a second. Hold on. Let's get Lori on the line. Hold on a second. Lori? All right. Is Lori on the line, Melanie? Lori McFarley? Lori, you're live on Fuente Meerapfel presents Meet the Professor. Let's all sing happy birthday to Lori.
Happy birthday!
Happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday.
Lori.
Happy
Can you hear
birthday.
us?
She's on mute. There you go.
She's
Hello.
on- There she is. Happy birthday, Lori.
Thank you.
Happy
That's
birthday.
beautiful.
Very special happy birthday. God bless.
Well, I have a feeling that Daniel's going to be announcing a winner on today's show for his special prize. So stay tuned, Lori. Happy birthday and stay safe.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks for joining us, Lori. Thank you so much. Happy birthday.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, it's that special moment today. Melanie Sisco is going to present the hot spot. Melanie, up to you.
Well, hello. How's everybody doing? So I have a lot of hot things going on for sure. Right now we have a lot of, we're going to be obviously a giveaway, and then we have a new Instagram that will show clips and things of what we've talked about, the great questions answered by the professor. I will put them in smaller clips. You guys can check out those answers and read back up on them. Also, don't ever forget, please, 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 please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe so that you will always be able to find us. And I think that our Facebook is doing awesome, so please be a part of that because you're going to, and
All right, I think we're losing Melanie there. It looks like the Wi-Fi at the beach or at the pool or at the, I don't know, maybe she's been swimming too deep in the water, but we'll catch her back in a second. In the meantime, we have a question that came in from Johnny. Maybe Daniel will be able to answer this one. It says, hello everyone. Is it possible to explain about how well to distribute the cigars in a humidor and where to put your humidifier? Like, for example, a Magna 3.0 Oasis, and where to put some fans for equal distribution. You want to answer that one, Daniel?
Well, it sounds to me like he has a fairly large size humidor. It's maybe a cabinet size that Johnny's got. And I would say, the circulation in that case, if it's large, you would want to make sure that the air is circulating. I mean, this is a perfect question. I defer to Carlos as the king, because what I saw of how he ages cigars, that's the ultimate humidor, is how you age those cigars in Dominican Republic, and how you hospital filtration systems and special air, and make sure just the right amount of cedar wood is there and the right amount of circulation. So it's important that you get, if you have a large size humidor, we've made some of them, like in Kitzbühel at the Cigar Lounge, we made them. So we had different blowers and different fans to distribute the humidity. And, you know, as far as though how to sort the cigars, if it's a smaller humidor, usually I'm a proponent, and I know Carlos is, about a lower humidity range than maybe is commonly kind of accepted. So I would put the cigars I want to age, all my best cigars, down on the bottom of the humidor for two reasons. One is the aging. It gets potentially a little bit less humidity, but more importantly, it hides it from your friends that are wanting to grab all your cigars.
I agree 100% on that one.
That's a very smart man, I'm telling you.
Yeah. I've just learned something on the show today. Usually I want to put those nice cigars on top, but now I'm going to listen to Daniel. I'm going to hide them on the bottom in a corner, maybe put a piece of paper over them so nobody can see.
There's something I want to, talk a little bit about humidors, because that's a question that I get at every seminar in every country I'm at. And I tell people it doesn't matter the humidor that you have, and not everybody's going to be able to buy a great humidor, but if you have the opportunity, buy a great humidor. But the trick is not the great about the humidor. It's basically about two things. It's the cigars you want to put away in that humidor and taking care of it. Because a lot of people will buy a great humidor from Daniel, which I've seen them come to the shops when I'm doing the events and say, what is my problem? And when I see the hydrometer, it's up to 85 and they're squishy. I said, what happened? I said, well, somebody told me to put in solution once a week. I said, you're killing it, because the first thing you're doing is you're bringing that humidity up, and in time, you're gonna have cigars that are not gonna burn. But not only that, it's one of the main reasons why people get a lot of mold in their humidors. And the other thing is, people who go on a 2-month vacation do not put the solution in, and then when they come back, the reading out of this 30, 40, and the cigars will screw up. So the main thing is to buy a good humidor, but more than anything else, good cigars, and take care of them like they were your own kids.
Yeah, well, there we go. Now, guys, we got to be careful now, because the problem with today's show is that there are so many people on the show. There's so many questions, and time is basically run out. So what we're going to do, we're going to try to grab a few more questions. We're going to try to give a very short 30-second answer to be able to get through as many questions as possible. And then we're going to have to get off the show because unfortunately time is running out. So let's do this. This is a question that came in from Jose. He's asking, which will be the next collaboration of Daniel and Carlito a humidor or more cigars? Does anyone want to speak about this, or should we move on to the next question? Carlito?
Well, I tell you, my relationship with Daniel is it's like falling in love. It's a romance. It's a man and a woman. You ask her to dance. You have a beautiful dance. Both of you go back to the table, and you're going to see who's going to make the next move. So I'm waiting for Danny to make a move, but if Danny doesn't, I guess I will. But hopefully there will be another opportunity.
I knew Carlito was going to answer that question in a certain way. You go to bed with a beautiful woman and you have a great night. There's probabilities you're going to get back into bed. All right, next question. Carlito, will the corona lockdown and factory shutdown affect the cigar market in terms of availability and tobacco farming? This is a question that came in from Marwin Helayel. Marwin, this one's for you.
Oh, wow. Wow. That is a question that I wish someone would have not have asked, because from being on top of the world with a big smile, all of a sudden I feel my heart hitting the bottom. That's a question I can't answer completely. We could only hope and pray. There's definitely going to be an effect on the market. I'm very concerned with nearly 3,000 people who right now are not going to work every day. We don't know what the result's going to be, not only here, but in the United States. There's literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of stores who are not opening. There are families who don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I just pray to God and hopefully that everyone, all of us, take deep responsibility and follow the instructions of our authorities so that we can do everything possible to overcome this. I know we will overcome this. And I believe that I'm a very optimistic person. I know not only will we overcome it, I know that we're going to become much stronger. And I know that we'll be much more united, not as a factory, not as a country, but as a world. And I just beg for patience and understand that all manufacturers are going through the same thing. We're not only concerned it's not about the sale of cigars or what's going to happen in the market. It's also the people who are part of our day-to-day lives that we're very concerned with. So it's a very difficult question to answer. It's an answer I wish I didn't have to face. It's a reason why I don't sleep at night. And I'm not the only one in this position. I'm sure that everybody in every business is asking themselves the same questions. I just pray to God that we could find an answer soon.
Yeah, no, it's a very difficult question to answer. And I think Carlito did that very well. But at the end of the day, remember, everyone is out there. Everyone's doing their best to try to moderate these issues as humanly as possible and as best as possible. And at the end of the day, all of us here, whether it's Daniel, Carlito, myself, Jose, all of us will do what is necessary to protect our people, to protect our businesses, and to protect the people who have been supporting us for the last 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, 150 years, which means you guys, the consumers, in doing what's best as a family all together to get through all of this. So there might be a little bit easier times in life, a bit more difficult times in life, but at the end of the day, you can be sure that everybody's doing their biggest commitments to trying to pull out of this altogether. And one thing I'm sure of is everything's going to end up just fine. We just have to get through it together. Okay, we have another question coming in. This one is from let's see here. Daniel, this one's for you, and then we're gonna start getting off the questions because time is completely run out. Daniel, what do you think about Bovida pack to keep cigars fresh? Bovida or any other system that in the packages, yeah?
Bovida is a very handy humidification system, and for people that are on the go and they just want to throw it into their travel humidor, or they want to put it into their humidor, it certainly is a good option. We've had humidification requests from shops over the decades, and it's interesting that there's also a large majority of people that maybe don't want to spend the money for a disposable kind of humidification, and they don't mind putting in the distilled water. So Bovita does great work and great job doing that. You know, we have special packets now that we make. It's nothing like Bovita. It's a whole different kind of idea. But I also have found that they don't, if you really want to oomph and a lot of power with your humidification system, Bovita, it may take longer and more of them to get you where you want to be with humidity. But if you like, you know, it's just, you know, I have nothing, I think it serves its purpose. Some of our customers do take out our humidification system, which is standard, and they fold the Bovita and they can place it in the holder. Like I say, we have a new humidification system, which is disposable, but I like also the traditional and old-fashioned ways for a small humidor, in particular for a desktop humidor. And the fact that it's environmentally friendly, you know, I think that I'm always concerned about that.
All right. Thank you, Daniel. Ladies and gentlemen, we are so late on schedule that we're going to have to wrap this show up. But before that, Melanie, I would like you please to hand to Daniel the actual winner of today's handout, which was gracefully and generously offered by Daniel Marshall. Daniel, who makes the nicest and the most exquisite cigar boxes, cigar humidors on the planet. Melanie?
Yes. Hi. So it looks like we have 2 birthdays today. So Daniel, what are you gonna give out 2 prizes, or is there a way that we can find out who wins? Their name is and happy birthday, Robbie Doyle, and then Lori McFarland. So both of those.
Oh, that is
Robbie
amazing.
And Laura. I think there's only one way to go here. They both get the present.
Well,
there's only one way.
All right, let's make a deal. Let's make a deal, Daniel. You hand out one of them, and Carlito and I will buy the other one and hand out the other one. Is that fair?
That's more than
no
fair.
buying here.
More than fair.
We're all
fair.
We're all one family. And you know what? It's a thrilling that this show, that you guys are producing this great show. I see this continuing. I see it becoming huge, and I'm so thrilled to say thank you and do my part to say thank you for the people that are tuning in live. I think that's really awesome. So,
all right. Well, ladies,
I'm coming to both of you. So just send us your addresses and we'll take care of it. And I happen to have mine right here, my artist proof. So that will be all of the artist proofs gone. Carlos doesn't even have one. I was like such a son of a bitch. I visited him down there in Dominican Republic and I took it. I didn't even give him, I felt really bad about that, by the way.
No, man. You've given me more than you could ever imagine. Thank you, Daniel.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've been blessed today. Daniel Marshall, thank you very much for coming on the show. I think that we haven't said 100th of what, we haven't spoken about 100th of what you have to speak about, the world of knowledge and experience and friendship that you've been training.
I have a suggestion. Sorry to interrupt. I would like to have Daniel Marshall return as a guest star once again in the near future.
Yes, I second that.
Well, Daniel,
I'm there anytime, any place, anytime, any hour. So call me on that.
All right.
It would be a great pleasure.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna have Daniel Marshall very, very soon back onto our show. But in the meantime, please remember to like the Facebook page. You can watch the recorded videos of these live broadcasts on our YouTube channel. Melanie has everything set up on Facebook as well. So make sure to like everything. Make sure to log on every day, weekdays, Monday to Friday, 11 o'clock Eastern time. And today is Friday, so you're off for the next
Happy
Fuente
Friday.
Friday.
All right, guys.
Keep it lit.
You guys remember, stay well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and others. And until next time, all our love. Bye-bye.
Bye.
God bless. Thanks, everybody. Keep it lit.
Bye-bye.